Hello guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my videos, and here we guys the best Bloodline tier list in Shindo Life. Now if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe out more. Remember hit that like button, or if you actually disagree with something in the tier list, feel free to comment it below. I do read every single comment, and I reply to some of them and heart some of them. Anyways guys, let's get right into the video. Alright guys, so just before we get to the tier list, I'm going to be a little more critical of every single bloodline. Some bloodlines that you see might be a rank below what they were before, or some just might change entirely because of their changes. But yeah, I just want to be a little bit more critical of every single bloodline, just so you guys get a more unbiased point of view. Akuma's going to be going to really good. It's just pretty much just a worse Bankai, and you guys know how good Bankai actually is. Golda Jokai is going to be going to almost broken. Golda Jokai does have the third ability, which is off of the iframe. I mean, it's off of the Sun Global cooldown, which is actually insanely OP, considering that you can combo with it extremely easy. Not to mention the other two abilities of it are actually quite good. Ash Storm's going to be going into good. I feel like it's a very good single target damage. Once you come into a team fight, you're going to get absolutely slaughtered. Azarashi's going to go into Met. Other than just having the stun ability and the ability to be quite a long-ranged person, this is only mainly used for M1 combos. Azimseko's going to go to the top of really good. Azimseko's actually a lot better than I thought it was before. It actually is really easy to hit the abilities, and it does quite a bit of damage. Bankai Akuma's going to be going into almost broken, probably honestly above Golda Jokai. Now it's going to be an almost broken because the abilities are actually quite good, and they actually are very, very good as a bloodline, but I do not think anything makes it broken. Blackshock's going to be going into the bottom of Meh. Blackshock's going to be going to the bottom of Meh, simply because I feel like Blackshock just isn't very good as a bloodline itself, but it can be useful sometimes. No, I'm putting in a bad. Sorry, guys. Blood's going to go to the bottom of almost broken. Blood's going to be at the bottom of almost broken because I feel like Blood's third ability is just so good. No, it's definitely going to be moved to the top of really good. It's not almost broken. The third move is actually very, very good, but one move does not carry a bloodline. Bolt's going to go to the bottom of good. Bolt overall is extremely good. It does a lot of damage, and overall it does a lot of stunning as well. Boramaki's going to actually be going to the top of really good. Boramaki's actually very good, but it's not as good as I said it was before. Boramaki overall can be useful in a lot of different situations, but Boramaki doesn't really make... Nothing about it is actually broken. Bubble's going to be going to the bottom of really good. Bubble overall is extremely good for annoying people or just, you know, team fights in general. It also is very good for slowing people. Clay's going to go to the top of good. Clay overall can be very useful in a lot of different situations, but nothing really makes it really good. Cobra's going to get to the bottom of good. Overall, Cobra is not as good as people say, probably said it has. And I will keep saying this to the end of the world. Cobra, it needs a rarity reduce, or it needs to be buffed. Crystal's definitely going to the bottom of Meh. Crystal overall is carried by one ability, which is just good for combos. Dangan's going to be going to good, probably below Ash's Storm and above Bolt. Dangan overall can be really good for long range situations, but if they know how to block, you would literally do nothing to them. Divaren's going to actually be going in really good above Bubble. Now, Divaren is actually very good for iframes, but that's literally it. Dyusuke's going to go to the top of really good. Dyusuke overall is very good as a bloodline, but nothing really makes it broken or almost broken. When it comes to Dyusuke, it actually is very good as a KG, but other than that, there's not really any reason to ever use it. Eastwood Karash is actually going to really good. I'm actually putting it probably below Akuma, above Divarun. Eastwood Karash is actually very good for combos, but it has no defensive abilities whatsoever. Emerald's going to go into good. Emerald's actually going to be put, honestly, above Cobra and below Bolt. Emerald's actually very good for combos, but that's about it. Explosion's going to the bottom of bad, because I feel like Explosion just is terrible as a bloodline. Forge Red is going to be the first broken one. Forge Red's second ability is busted, and including the Z-Spec first ability, third ability. Overall, Forge Red is actually one of the most busted bloodlines in the game. Frostfire is going to go to the top of bad, because Frostfire is actually just... It's honestly pretty much just a waste of a bloodline slot, because there's no real reason that you would ever use Frostfire over any other stun bloodline in the game. Ghost Karashi is going to be going to the bottom of almost broken. Ghost Karashi is definitely a really good bloodline. It actually is very good as a KG because it has so many different iframes. It actually is very, very good. Giovanni Shiz is going to the top of good. Overall, Giovanni Shiz is mainly meant for damage, but other than that, it's actually very bad. Gold Sand is going to go to above Crystal on Met. Overall, Gold Sand is just a worse Shizen. Much worse. Hair is going to go into good. Hair is going to actually probably be put above Bolt, below Dangan in good. Overall, Hair does need buff because I feel like the nerfs kind of destroyed the bloodline. Wanzuyame is definitely going to the top of Meh. Wanzuyame can be useful in different situations, but overall, it's not nearly as good as the bloodlines above it. Ice is going to be going into Meh below Crystal. Inferno is going to go into good. Inferno is actually probably be put, honestly, at the bottom of good. Overall, Inferno could be very good for combos, but other than that, Inferno is just not very useful as a bloodline. Ink is going to be going to good. Ink is actually going to be put above Clay and below Giovanni Shizen. Overall, Ink is very useful as a bloodline. It actually is a lot better than a lot of people think. Ink by far is a very, very, very underrated bloodline. Iron Sand is going to go into good as well. Iron Sand is actually probably going to be put... I'll put it below Hair and above Bolt. Overall, Iron Sand is very good if you actually need a little bit of extra damage or a little bit of stunning. Eternal is going to go into really good. Eternal is going to be put... Akuma actually needs moved up, and so does Eastwood. So I'm gonna be putting Eternal below Akuma above Blood. Overall, Eternal is actually very good for stunning and very good for combos. Jeremaki is going to go to really good below Diva Ren. Overall, Jeremaki can be good, but actually does need a few buffs to make it a little bit more balanced. But right now, it is actually really good as a KG because it does do a bunch of damage, but I feel like it isn't as good as it probably should be for the rarity. Jokai is pretty much just a much worse Golda Jokai, so I'm going to putting it to the top of good. Overall, Jokai is just not nearly as good as Golda Jokai. Katsu is definitely going to go into meh, below Golden Sand. I feel like below Gold Sand above the crystals where Kakatsu should go. It can be useful sometimes, but overall, it's not very good. Kaijin is going to be going to good. Kaijin is going to be actually put below Cobra and above Inferno. Kaijin overall can do a lot of DPS, but other than that, it's not really any reason to use this bloodline. Kamaki is definitely going to the top of really good. Kamaki is actually a very good KG overall, and Kamaki can be busted in the right hands, but it takes a lot of skill to use, and because of the amount of skill it takes to use, it is going to be at the top of really good. Karada is definitely going into good as well. Karada is going to be put below Emerald. No, it's definitely going to be put above Bolt, below Iron Sand. Karada overall can do a lot of damage, but that's about it. Kenichi is going to go into really good. Kenichi is going to be put below Akuma and above Eternal in really good. I feel like Kenichi is very good, especially the second mode. It actually can carry you in a lot of different situations, and it being a Taijutsu bloodline is actually very, very good. Dokai is going to be going to good, probably below Giovanni and above Ink. Overall, Dokai is very good for the first ability and the mode M1s because they are very good overall. Conchu is definitely going into really good. Conchu is actually very slept on as a bloodline. I'm going to be putting it below Jeremaki. No, I'm putting it above Jeremaki, below Diva Red. Overall, Conchu is actually really good as a KG, and it is a very noob stomper bloodline. Lava is just terrible, stupid, dumb. Light Jokai is going to go into really good. I'm actually putting Light Jokai above Eastwood Karashi, below Blood. Overall, Light Jokai can actually be very good as a KG, and Light Jokai is actually very busted in the right hands. Mecha Spirit's going to be going into good. Mecha Spirit's going to be put probably below Jokai and above Giovanni. She said Mecha Spirit's mainly good for the first ability, which is a ranged block breaker, which is actually very good, but the mode is absolutely terrible. Minakami is going to go to really good. I'm actually putting Minakami below Diva Ren. Minakami is mainly carried by the third ability, but the third ability of Minakami is actually really good overall. Minakaze is going to go to the bottom of broken. Even with all the nerfs, Minakaze is actually very, very good as a KG. Mainly the mode now. The mode C-spec is actually very broken, and they actually did buff the first ability, so it is actually a lot better to use in PvP. But even though the other two abilities of Minakaze were nerfed, they actually still are very good to use. Mud's going to go to the top of broken. No, it's just jokes, guys. Mud is going to go to meh, probably above Crystal and below Kakatsu. Now I know a lot of people are probably going to get mad at this, but Narumaki is going to the bottom really good. Narumaki is actually not very good as a KG, but it is very good for noobs because it is an AoE based bloodline, and even with all the nerfs, Narumaki still remains good because of the Tetasaiyan mode. Nature's going to go to the bottom of good. Overall, Nature's stun is actually very, very good, and the other two abilities are usable. Nectar's going to go to the top of meh. Overall, Nectar's actually not very good as a KG. I do know it's very underrated. It is a lot better than a lot of people think, but it isn't very good. Otis Saber is definitely going to get to really good. Otis Saber is going to be put below Zimseko, above Diva Ren. Overall, Otis Saber is actually very good as a KG, and Otis Saber can carry you in a lot of your cases, specifically the second ability of it. Okami is going to go to the top of bad. Okami actually glitches you out of the map sometimes, and actually can be a hindrance more than help sometimes. But when it does work, it is okay as a bloodline. Paper is going to be going to good, probably honestly below Jokai and good. Overall, Paper is actually very, very good as a bloodline, and I feel like Paper is very usable because of the amount of damage it deals. Atomic's going to go to the bottom of good. I'm actually putting it below Kaijin and above Kaijin, below Cobra. Overall, Atomic stun is actually one of the best stuns in the game if you can actually land it. Overall, the other two abilities, Atomic, are actually not very good in a lot of different cases. Now, this is going to be a mind blower, guys. You guys are not going to believe this. Pikaseko, bottom of broken. Pikaseko is by far one of the most busted bloodlines in the game now. They have buffed it. They have buffed it so many times that Pikaseko is actually now a broken KG. Now you guys may be thinking, oh yeah, the third ability, it does half your HP. That is broken. Not only that, but Pikaseko is just so useful. It is so good. Alright, so I'm just gonna list it out for you. C-spec, auto tracking ability that does a ton of damage. Weapon spec is an auto dodge that does a ton of damage. The first ability it has M1 priority now and teleports you to them. Second ability is one of the best traveling abilities in the entire game. Third ability is the highest DPS bloodline ability in the game. Pikaseko is busted now, guys. You need to try it out. Vine's going to be going to really good, probably below Minakami and above Conchu. Overall, Vine is very good as a KG, but nothing really makes it broken. Ryan Akuma is going to be going to I'm actually putting Ryan Akuma at the top of almost broken. Ryan Akuma overall, that C-spec now is insane. The C-spec is actually now a ranged mode drain that does a ton of damage, guys. It is actually insane. You guys need to try it out. Ryan Ren is also going to almost broken. Ryan Ren is going to be going to the bottom of almost broken. Overall, Ryan Ren is actually very good as a KG now that the second mode is there. It actually is very usable as a KG. Rengoku is going to go into really good. Rengoku is actually going to be going below Kenichi and above Eternal. Overall, Rengoku is actually very usable as a KG, but nothing makes it absolutely broken. Ren Shiki is going to go into really good as well. Ren Shiki is definitely going into really good. Honestly, below Odin and above Diva Ren. Overall, Ren Shiki is actually very good. The iframe is one of the best iframes of the game, and the other abilities are actually very, very usable. Now, Riser Kuma, this is going to make me sad to say this, guys, but Riser Kuma is actually going into really good. Only above the normal Akuma. Riser Kuma is not nearly as good as it used to be. It has been so mega nerfed, and it actually is wildly different from Bankai to the point where Riser Kuma is just much worse than Bankai Kuma now. Riser Kuma has definitely fell from grace, guys, and it makes me sad to say because Riser Kuma is actually my favorite. Raikishi's is definitely going into almost broken below Ryan Ren. Now, the reason for this is because Raikishi's actually does a lot of damage output, and the abilities of it are actually very good, do high amounts of damage, or are very, very good for fighting in general. Ryuji Kenichi is going to go to broken below Forge Ren. Overall, Ryuji Kenichi is still very busted as a bloodline, even if the first ability has been nerfed. But after the first ability has been nerfed, Forge Ren has taken over as the most busted bloodline in the game. Sabri is going to go to the top of meta. Overall, Sabri is actually very good for 1v1s, but for anything else, it is not good whatsoever. Sand's going to go to good. I actually do love Sand Flight, but that's going to be the only thing about Sand that I actually do like. Sriracha is definitely going to go to almost broken. Sriracha is going to be put, probably, honestly, Sriracha is actually very good as a bloodline, but only if you're actually good at it. I'm actually putting Sriracha above Borimaki, below Diosenko. Sriracha overall is a very good instant ability bloodline, but if you're actually not good at using instant ability, Sriracha definitely falls behind the other ones. Satori Kuma is definitely going to be going to almost broken below Bankai. Satori Kuma actually does a ton of damage and has one of the easiest to hit stuns in the entire game. Scorch is going above lava and bad. It's basically just lava, but if there are balls flying around you. Station is going to go to a good. I'm actually putting Station above Mech Spirit, below Paper. Overall, Station is very good for team fights, but other than that, it's not really good. It's also a decent combo bloodline. Sengoku is going to really good, probably below Jeromaki and above Bubble. Overall, Sengoku is mainly good for its stun, but that's about it when it comes to Sengoku. Now, Senko is actually going to be put into really good. Senko is going to be going below Akuma and really good. I feel like Senko is actually very good as a bloodline, and it actually is very good for being a base bloodline. I'm actually putting it below Kenichi, but Senko overall is just basically Diosenko, but if it was an elemental bloodline. Shadow is going to go into get meh. I'm actually putting Shadow above Nectar, below Sabru. Overall, Shadow is just mega nerfed at this point, to the point where it is not very useful as a bloodline. Shindai Red is going to be going to almost broken. Shindai Red is actually going to be going below Ryan Red and above Raikishizen. Shindai Red is actually very good for the mode M1s and the throwables of the mode, but other than that, Shindai Red is not very good as a bloodline. Shindaikuma, however, it's just very bad now. Shindaikuma is actually probably put. I'm actually probably going to put Shindaikuma. You know, honestly, Shindaikuma is just so bad now. I honestly don't know where to put it. It's just so bad. Shindaikuma is going to go to the top of good. This is going to be the only Akuma actually at the top of good. Shindaikuma is actually so bad now. It is just unreal how bad this bloodline is now. They've nerfed this bloodline to the point where it is actually almost unusable as a bloodline, which is kind of unreal. Shiver Kuma is definitely going almost broken. Shiver Kuma is going to be going above Satori and below Bankai. Shiver Kuma is actually very, very, very good as a bloodline, especially for just annoying people. But you could also infinitely stun people with Shiver Kuma, which actually is very, very good. Now, Shizen's going to go into really good. Shizen's actually probably going to be put below Ghost Karashi. No, Shizen definitely is better than Akuma. So I'm actually putting Shizen below Riser and above Akuma. Shizen overall is actually a very, very good bloodline. It has a high damage output. It can be very useful in a lot of different cases. Smoke is going to go into really good. Smoke is actually going to be put to the bottom of really good. Smoke is very good for traveling and very good for countering, but that's about it when it comes to Smoke. Sound's going to go to the bottom of good. Overall, Sound is mainly just a damage bloodline. Steam is going to go to bad above Frostfire. Overall, Steam is actually not good as bloodline anymore because all the abilities just have a better version of it now. Storm is actually going to be put into good. Storm's actually going to be put. Honestly, Storm's going to be put. I'm going to be putting it below Iron Sand and above Karada. Overall, Storm is actually very good as the bloodline, especially for 1v1s or team fights. Tengoku is going to go into really good. Tengoku is actually going to be put below Senko and above Rengoku. Tengoku actually is one of the most slept on bloodlines in the game. Tengoku is a lot better than people think because they actually have buffed it wildly. Tsunami is actually going to be put into good below Jokai. Overall, Tsunami is not nearly as good as it used to be, and the same goes for Typhoon. Both of these bloodlines are just not nearly as good as they used to be because they actually removed the hand signs from the first abilities of them, which made them significantly worse than they used to be. No, I mean they added hand signs, which means you actually cannot hold down the ability anymore. Variety Mud, this makes me so sad to say this, guys, but Variety Mud is definitely going to be put to right here and good. Variety Mud is not nearly as good as it used to be, and overall this bloodline has been nerfed. I don't know why they nerfed it so much, but they made this ability almost unusable now. But it still can be useful for that second ability sometimes. Xenodokai is going to be going to almost broken. I'm actually putting Xenodokai probably, honestly, above Shindaikuma and below Raimen. Overall, Xeno is actually very good for PvP and mainly for boss fighting. Glacier is going to be good to the top of Mega. Glacier Mirror is actually one of the best abilities of Glacier. It can actually outlast an Araj, but other than that, Glacier is not very good as a bloodline. Now, what you guys have been waiting for, Bankai Inferno is going to be going into broken. Bankai Inferno is going to be going to broken, probably honestly above Minakaze, below Ryuji. Bankai Inferno is one of the best supporting bloodlines in the game right now, and you really should expect this bloodline to get nerfed because it probably will eventually. Anyways, guys, that should be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember to like, click on more. Sex, guys. Bye bye.